Hi guys, so welcome to my second video, which was originally supposed to be my first video, but like I had to record it like 3 times and I was overthinking a lot, and we're just gonna do a way more like chilled version of like a Q&A and like my fitness story and all that fun stuff. So let's get into it. Okay, so I thought it would be easier to start out with my fitness story and then kind of go into a few questions after. Also, my memory from the past 3 years is quite literally horrible. So it's really hard for me to like remember everything, but I'm gonna try my best. So I grew up in Kansas for most of my life, and I was competitively Irish dancing for I think like 14 years. So I was always very active growing up and never really worried about what I was eating, my weight, kind of how I looked, any of that stuff. So kind of fast forward to 2019, I moved to New Jersey, and once I moved, I decided that I didn't want to Irish dance anymore just because it like wasn't the same, because my whole dance school was back in Kansas and I didn't really want to join a new school or just like practice in my basement by myself because it just like wasn't the same. So I stopped, and then I got into a relationship pretty soon after I moved there, and in that relationship I started to smoke a lot of like green shui like so anyway, started to smoke a lot, and my diet was pretty horrible, I'm not gonna lie. I got like White Castle every single day. So during that time I noticed that I was gaining a lot of weight just because I wasn't active anymore, and then also my diet was like really bad. I had been struggling with an low-key like an eating disorder for a few years before this, but nothing like that bad. It started getting bad in 2019, so let me think. Like I said, I can't remember shit. So yeah, so my eating, I kind of developed like a worse eating disorder. I was getting really depressed, restricting a lot. I started to self-harm a bit. It was getting pretty bad, so I decided to start therapy, which helped a lot. I highly recommend therapy to anyone going through anything. I only just now stopped going to therapy like a month ago, but yeah, totally recommend it if you haven't done it. Yada yada yada. I got a little better, but like anyway, fast forward again to mid 2020. That's when I started my freshman year of college. So I moved to New York City because I went to FIT, which is like a fashion college in New York, which I don't know why I went there because I'm not into fashion whatsoever, but anyway, I didn't really know who I was at that point. So anyway, I went to fashion school, and then I dormed as well, like by myself, because at that time with COVID and everything, school was online, but they let you dorm, so you kind of got like the city experience. So I dormed by myself. I think my second week up there, I decided to end things with my boyfriend at the time, and then which really, you know, kind of like it wasn't good. I went into a complete spiral of just like guilt, a bunch of stuff. So I went to a spiral. Eating disorder got really bad because I was living by myself, so I was like, I don't have anyone telling me that I have to eat, so I just like didn't eat. I also had no money, so I spent money on my vapes, and that's about it. Anyway, so spiraling, constantly going clubbing, partying, and that whole scene is pushed on young girls so heavily in New York. It's really dangerous and very unsafe, and there's a few times I look back, I'm like, I don't know how I made it out of that situation, but here we are. Anyway, yeah, so kind of forming a really bad relationship with alcohol because at that time it was kind of the only thing that made me happy. So anywho, fast forward to beginning of 2021, I moved into an apartment with 2 other girls that also went to my college. And this is where it started to get really bad. So the first few months of the apartment, we were like constantly throwing parties. I was drinking all the freaking time, mentally not doing well. Now we get to the absolute rock bottom pit of my life. April and May of 2021. Some really fun stuff happened. Yeah, so some really fun, traumatic stuff happened. I got diagnosed with severe PTSD and anxiety. I would have constant anxiety attacks. I couldn't leave my bedroom without like having an anxiety attack. I also struggle, I forget the name, like derealization or depersonalization, one of those two, where just like nothing felt real for a solid 3 to 4 months, and I still struggle with it sometimes. Like sometimes it comes back up. I'm like, whoa. But yeah, for like 3 to 4 months, I couldn't like watch TV. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I couldn't go on my phone because everything, it felt like a bad high. Like when you get too high and everything starts getting really like scary and everything like seems off and different, and like that's kind of what it feels like, but it's also like impossible to explain to like someone who's never gone through it. But anywho, fast forward a few months, fall semester 2021, college starts back up. I'm still very much struggling with my anxiety and like derealization, depersonalization, whichever one it is. And I had to pre-game to go to classes at college because I was too anxious to go, so I would get drunk every night just to go to school, but it was bad. With all of that, my eating disorder progressively got worse and worse because I think I felt so out of control with myself and with my whole life that like my eating was the one thing I could control, but which is so ironic because I was so out of control in the same way. But anyway, yeah, eating disorder got hit like a rock bottom at the very end of 2021. At that time, at the end of the year, I was so over being upset, depressed, anxious, struggling with my eating disorder all the time. I hated it. I finally realized like I need to change. I want to change. You're not going to change unless you want to change. So you can't have someone like force you to change, you know what I mean? Like you gotta want it. And I wanted it. So I made a goal to start working out at the beginning of 2022, which I stuck to. The first 2 weeks of working out, I was only working out to lose more weight. Like I was just doing like the bike machine just to like burn calories. I wasn't like actually lifting. But as time went on, I did start to try more lifting exercises. And I think I started to like kind of fall in love with it and fall in love with the progress that I was making. It was the first time in a very long time where I actually kind of felt strong. Yeah, I started to see progress. I challenged myself to eat more because I knew all this effort I was putting into the gym, I wasn't gonna see it unless I get my diet like together. So I started fixing my diet, pushing myself to eat more. I saw more results, and then at that point it just gets addicting. And then I don't remember how exactly I started social media. I think I just saw a few girls on TikTok post like workout videos, and I was like, ooh, like I could do that. So I started posting little like workout videos, trends, nothing crazy. They didn't do very well at the start. And then I don't really remember, I think like one video blew up. I kept posting and posting. I was posting like 3-4 times a day because I was like actually like psychotic, and like looking back, I don't know how I did that. But anyway, they kind of kept blowing up because I was posting so often. And there was one video in particular that really blew up. It got like 20 million views. I did end up deleting that video though because I think it was kind of sending the wrong idea. And at that time, I was such a newbie in the gym that I didn't really know what I was doing. Anyway, I've deleted it since, but that video definitely kind of like kickstarted my TikTok, and then the people from TikTok would start to follow my Instagram, and then yeah, it wasn't until like late 2022, I would say, that my accounts actually started taking off and doing well. But yeah, so I'm trying to think. I feel like I left a lot out because my brain, like my memory is so patchy. That's pretty much my fitness story.